So thank you, everybody, and welcome to our next session. My name is Mark Cormier, and on behalf of the organizing committee for the National Conference for Teachers of English Costa Rica, I want to introduce our next speaker. Xochitl Arvizu is a passionate teacher educator who discovered her teaching vocation at the age of 8. So since 1991, she has taught students at different levels and age groups, but she most enjoys working with teachers. Xochitl has a master's degree in education from Exeter University. She has participated in materials evaluation and development, as well as directed curriculum design projects for many institutions. At present, she is a team leader for the speaking examiners for Cambridge Assessment English and runs her own consultancy firm, Creative Solutions in ELT, working alongside National Geographic Learning for a variety of academic projects. Here to speak with us today with the presentation, Enhancing Resourcefulness, Resilience, and Reflection in the Language Classroom to Foster Lifelong Learning, please welcome Xochitl Arvizu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm extremely happy to have the chance to be with you today. And I am saying hello from Mexico. I am very glad to see I have lots of people from different parts of the world. And I'm very happy to see I have some Mexican people here joining us today. Thank you very, very much for being here. I'm very happy to be here on behalf of National Geographic Learning and to get the chance to talk about this topic that I love ginormously, which is how we can help and empower our learners to be more resourceful, not only in the classroom, but as lifelong learners. So let's get started. And in order to get started, I would like to ask you to when possible, and if possible, to have your cameras open most of the time, if this is feasible. And also at some specific moments, I will be asking you to open your microphones because it would be fantastic to hear from you, to listen to your ideas. And there are many activities where we will be overlapping. That's not important, because the important thing is I would like you to participate as much as possible. So we're going to talk about the 3 R's in the Claxton model of resilience and many other interesting things that I hope you like. But I would like to start by having a quick activating of a schemata activity. And for this activity, I'm going to ask you, please, to as soon as you have read the question that I have posed, I would like you to complete the sentence with whatever comes to your minds. Again, it doesn't matter if you overlap, but I would like to listen to you. What could you do if clouds had strings hanging from them? What could you do? Come on, open mics and tell me, what could you do if clouds had strings hanging from them?
Travel the world.
All right, what else? Shoot.
Take them home.
All right, thank you. Another idea.
Swing.
All right, why not? That's a great idea. Anything else?
Just jump and touch them.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. What could you do if you had an eye at the tip of your finger?
See.
Be careful.
I would look into places where I don't usually look at.
See what's inside my nose.
Right, that's very nice. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. What could you do if there was no...
I would be sad.
Try.
Okay, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's nice. Anything else that you would like to share?
I would look at the stars.
All right, thank you very much. What would you do if you were the opposite sex?
Walk on the street at night.
All right, very good. What else?
I'll look pretty.
You'd look prettier. You are very pretty, but yes, maybe prettier. Okay.
Would feel strong.
Okay, stronger than you are. Well, from a physical perspective, that's very nice. What could you change? What could you do if you could change a political decision made in your country?
Vaccine everyone against COVID.
All right. Any other idea?
I would forbid religion into politics.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other
I
idea?
second that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. So, well, I'm very
It
happy.
is very difficult because we talk and we are like a political position. It will be difficult to decide what to do.
All right. Thank you very much for all your contributions. I'm very happy to have the chance to see Dinora, Virginia, Sylvia, Caroline, Felix, David, Dinora, Carla, Jamilet, and many others that I will be mentioning throughout the session. But thank you very much for your participation. Just very quickly, just to get started and talking about what we can do in order to empower our learners in the learning process. What could be the purpose of an activity like the one we just did? What would be the purpose, if any?
Break the ice.
Maybe breaking the ice, that's great. Anything else that comes to your mind?
To foster creativity.
Could you please repeat that?
Foster creativity.
Ah, that's nice. Foster creativity. Of course, you have to come up, you have to do a little bit of lateral thinking, think out of the box and find a different solution. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Oral production.
Foster oral production.
To develop critical thinking.
Implementing different elements related to critical thinking. Thank you very much. So remember that kind of conversation starters and maybe kind of activities that somehow take us or push us to think out of the box are very good at promoting both communication when it comes to accuracy, but mostly fluency. And yes, of course, our students are activating their schemata and their critical thinking. Thank you very much. So let's get started. And well, I'd like to start by talking about the difference between hard thinking and soft thinking. Just take a look at the pictures that I have for you there. As you can see, one of them has to do with Venice, yes? Because traditionally, we are used to thinking of the act of thinking as something structured, organized, sequential, etc. And this is what we know as hard thinking. Traditionally, in education, we have worked most towards fostering hard thinking because hard thinking is like this very organized way of structuring and looking at the world. Whereas nowadays, in education, we are aiming at moving towards a different way of thinking, which is soft thinking. Soft thinking is more like a delta, the delta of a river, for example, that flows and moves from one side to the other, not necessarily in such a structured way, and not necessarily having to follow specific guidelines or frameworks. It has been proven that our brains can handle well both hard and some soft thinking modes. As I was saying, traditionally in education, we have worked more towards fostering hard thinking. But how about thinking of ways of working towards the other side, fostering creativity, enabling our students to use their critical thinking skills, but not only or not exclusively thinking of very concrete ideas or making synapses of very concrete ideas, but thinking about other ways of thinking and including and conceptualizing in a different way. So today we will have the chance to talk both about hard thinking and soft thinking, but we will try to move a little bit more towards how we can foster soft thinking in our learners. Now, let's, for starters, talk about the fact that being language teachers, being teachers of English, one of our most important priorities, of course, has to do with the language, working with language systems such as structures, functions, pronunciation, and lexis. Also, working with the language skills, reading, speaking, listening, and writing. And of course, this is maybe our top priority because we are teachers of English. So of course, we are used to thinking of language as our most important goal. Also, as the most powerful amplifier for learning. Through language, through the language, we get to learn more about the language. We get to understand the language. We get to internalize the language. Of course, learning a language and getting better at our use of English enables us to learn English and to perfect it more and more and more every time. So it is important to remember that English as such, it's not only a means, it's not only an end, but it is a means more than anything else. It's part of a process that, of course, enables us to do many things. And also that language has to do with the culture or the context we are related to. It is context bound. So the input and the output that we provide our learners with and the output they produce, of course, has to do very much with our socio-cultural context. And these are important things that we have to take into account. But I would like to ask you and tell me what you think. In order to learn English or in order to learn a foreign language, do we only need to learn or do we only need to exercise the use of the language? Is the language the only thing we need to learn in order to become competent speakers? What do you think? In order to learn English, I only need English? What do you think? Yes or not?
No, the culture is also part of the language.
Exactly. So elements that have to do with the context, culture, very good. Anything else that we need to learn in order to become proficient speakers or proficient users of the language? You said the language.
We need to learn how to communicate.
Okay, we need to learn how to communicate. I like that comment very much. This is a great comment. Could you build a little bit more on it? What do you mean by learn how to communicate?
In other words, the whole process of communicating is very complex. And we need to understand that it's not just a language. We want to be able to communicate, and communication entails using not only the language, but also your body, your intonation, etc.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. Thanks a million. Would anybody else want to add anything? Would you like to add any other thing?
I would like to say something. It's necessary to strengthen those soft skills. My colleague mentioned about the ways of communication, but also the way how I address the information or I express the information to the other person and how the other person receives the information. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are great comments. As very well said, it's not only a matter of language. It is a matter of many other things put together this puzzle that enables communicatively competent. Remember that communicative competence is our ability to use the language accurately and fluent, but in the correct context. And this is, of course, what we are aiming at with our learners. So what does learning involve? There are many things that are that learning a language entails and that are involved in the process. But today I would like to focus mostly on 3 elements. And this is the theory of the 3 R's. Yes, it doesn't, of course, mean there are not other things, but today I would like to focus only or mostly on the 3 R's. And these 3 R's are resilience, resourcefulness, and reflection. Resilience, resourcefulness, and reflection. So let's talk about this: resilience, resourcefulness, and reflection. For starters, what is resilience? What comes to your minds when you listen to the term resilience? What is this?
Survival.
Okay, survival, that's an excellent word. Any other synonym or word that comes to your minds when you listen to this term?
Adapt to a new language.
I cannot mute.
Adaptation.
Is the ability to turn a bad situation into something good.
Yeah. All right, that's excellent. Any other comment? No.
The ability to manage difficult situations in our lives.
Great, thank you very much. So, as you very well said, these words that you provided me with, yes, it has to do with emotional tolerance, which allows us to cope with uncertainty or to cope with difficult situations. For example, all of us have had these students that when a term starts, for example, they receive a first non-passing grade, for example, and while some of our students just abandon the course and are not interested on the course anymore. There are students that maybe receive not a passing grade and they start fighting towards the obtention of something very good. We observe that our students' ability or the resilience that our students exhibit varies from person to person. And of course, it has to do with how I connect as an individual, how I connect to my emotions, how I identify them, how I work with them, and to what extent I am able to share what I feel with others, to share it with other people. So this is related to resilience. What about resourcefulness? What comes to your minds when you listen to the term resourcefulness?
Use of skills.
Okay, use of skills. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Any other point of view?
Tools, having enough
different
to give.
tools.
All right.
We use different tools.
Thank you very much. Great. So yes, as you very well said, resourcefulness is this toolbox. Yes, our toolkit, the strategies, the little elements that we use in order to help us learn. So all the abilities, all the possibilities that we have at our disposal that will enable us to craft not only the learning experience, but the tools that will enable us to go out to the world and transfer what we've learned in real contexts. And last but not least, what about reflection? What comes to your minds when you listen to the term reflection?
Think before talking.
Okay, that's a very good idea. That's a key element. Anything else that you would like to mention?
What I can learn from the things I have done.
That's excellent.
Analyze and incorporate the learning.
Exactly. So as you're
the ability to put yourself, put distance between the issue and yourself, and analyze it from afar.
That's wonderful. That's a great definition. Yes, somehow it strikes me as it has to do with having at yourself in the mirror and identifying elements from there. That's very important. So, yes, the capacity to look at our own learning, to identify what works best for me. If I am a morning person or a late night person and what I prefer to do when I prefer to study, and just identify how I can make things work in an easier way. For example, if it's possible, raise your hand if you consider yourself to be a last minuter. Do we have any last minuters here? Mark is one, yes. Nobody else is a last minuter. Are you all sequential organized? Well, Carolyn, Eloisa, yes, some of you are last minuters. And of course, there's nothing right or wrong about that. Tatiana, yes, it is just a fact. It doesn't mean it is right or wrong. Some people prefer it like that and works well for them. So the important thing is to identify what is it that works best for me. What is the mode of work that I prefer? So we talked about resilience some minutes ago, and I love this quotation by Guy Claxton, who says that resilience is staying intelligently engaged. And I like very much this idea because intelligently engaged strikes me as it doesn't mean that you are there even though you know there's no hope, but that you are staying there whenever you feel that you still have a connection with a task or with a situation, for example. And it has to do something about our ability to relate or to assume or to take on challenges, for example, and challenges that matter to you. even though there are difficulties and setbacks, but the fact that you find the motivation and this stamina that you need in order to get intelligently engaged. Now, let me ask you this question. Can we help our students become more resilient? Can we do something? Can we do things in the classroom that will enable them to be slightly more resilient? What do you think?
With our examples.
Okay. Could you expand a little bit? That sounds very nice.
For example, if I am a positive person, I show it with my actions.
All right, thank you very much. Any other ideas that come to your minds? Fantastic.
Yes, I would like to tell something about that. I would say that if we give like real cases in class, we can talk about that, and we can see the pros and the cons and what activities or what actions we can take into action. You know, it's kind of that for me.
Lovely, fantastic. Thank you very much. What both of you said is very important, because sometimes we look at these words, resilience and resourcefulness and reflection, sometimes we seem to get the impression very complicated, very difficult, that it is not doable. And we say, well, I am a teacher of English, I am not a psychologist, so how am I going to enhance resilience? How am I going to promote resilience in my students? Well, it is important to identify that resilience, for example, starts identifying what makes us tick, how we feel in connection to different contexts, situations, and for example, with classroom tasks. And that's why resilience is something that we can help our students develop if we, for example, provide them with activities that will prepare them for this in the long run. Our activities do not have to be complicated. They can be as simple as this activity that I am going to share with you right now. The name of this activity is Something That Makes Me Feel. So I'm going to show you a picture of someone who is displaying a specific mood, attitude, etc. And I would like you to, first of all, try to identify if the person is happy, sad, angry, bored, etc. Tell me what you think the picture portrays, and then connect it to what kind of things trigger this sort of feeling in you. For example, what do you think this one is?
Happiness.
Fun, happy.
Okay.
Happiness.
Great.
Joy.
So tell me things, simultaneously, it doesn't matter that we overlap ourselves. Tell me something that makes you feel happy.
My son.
My family.
My parents.
My dog.
Family.
Listen to music.
My nephew.
Ice cream.
Peace.
Family.
Animals.
Gardening.
Sleeping.
Little daughter.
Dancing.
Time for myself.
Dancing.
Walking.
Singing.
Thank you very much. I've heard wonderful comments, your dog, singing, dancing, family. Thank you very much. Of course, with your students, you can explore them a little bit more. Time-wise, we can't do it now, but thank you very much. What about this one? What is the emotion that you identify there?
Frustration.
Sadness.
Sadness.
Frustration.
Angry.
Okay, let's see.
Suffering.
Anger.
Frustration, sadness.
Disappointed.
That makes you feel like that. Something that makes you feel sad.
Sickness.
Taxation.
The
Keeping
death
away.
of somebody who I love.
This pandemic. Deadlines.
Coronavirus.
All right. All right.
See children suffering.
Shut down.
Okay, thank you very much. Ana Lorena, did you want to ask something in particular, or you wanted to participate, Ana Lorena? I'm not sure. You raise your hand.
Okay, no, sorry. I am participated that I was excited about to see about this picture that I was so funny.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Ana Lorena. Did you tell us what makes you feel sad? Well, let's hopefully we will continue to hear from you, Anna.
One thing that makes me sad is the fact that Palestinians and Israelis cannot get along.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Well, there are so many things that make us feel sad, but again, it is important to identify what makes us tick and how we feel in connection to situations. Last one. What is this? What is this emotion? What is it?
Anger.
Angry.
Okay, so go ahead and tell me things that make you feel angry.
Injustice.
Killing people with no reason.
Admin in my high school.
Yes, admin work. Yes, I completely agree with you. Okay, thank you very much. So something important about activities like this, of course, they might be used as icebreakers, fillers, etc. What they help us with is, of course, changing the pace, changing the mood, but also if we think about them in depth, we will identify things that students feel, but more than anything else, they will identify how they feel in connection to different situations, yes? And depending on the age group, depending on the level, of course, you can have them as a more contrived or freer activity, but the important thing is that if we start by helping them or pushing them or inviting them to identify how they feel in connection to things, of course, this is something which is likely to build resilience because you can discuss it with them and they can learn from these situations. Okay. So this is just one quick example of an activity aimed at promoting resilience. What about resourcefulness? And when we talk about resourcefulness, there are many resources that, of course, we can take on and that we can use in order to become much more resourceful. We said that these resources are, of course, some sort of a toolkit that we have and that we possess that will enable us to transfer information and to transfer what we know in different contexts or situations. So from what I think, there's no better way to become resourceful as a learner than working with your own learning strategies and getting to know and identify learning strategies. The strategies that I am showing here are adapted from what Rebecca Oxford considers to be the most important learning strategies. I like this taxonomy very much. There are others, of course, but what I like about this taxonomy from Rebecca Oxford is the fact that she aims at working with the different domains of the individual. She works, of course, with cognition, she works with emotions, and she works with the socio-cultural domain. So something very important about this is that we have, of course, what we know as cognitive strategies. And these cognitive strategies are the ones that are very well linked to our cognition, to the use of our intellect. For example, doing things such as imagining, using our intuition, using our intellect, and starting to build on strategies such as knowing when to scheme, when to scam, when it's better to predict some information, etc. But she also thinks about effective strategies, all the little things that we can do to either support others, but also to support ourselves. For example, what about strategies such as self-talk? Have you ever tried to help your learners with a strategy like self-talk, for example? Maybe many of you are very familiar with this strategy. I don't know if one day, for one reason or the other one, you have to walk a path that is alone, it is dark, it is at night, and you are walking towards your door, but then nobody seems to be there, and maybe you are afraid, you are scared, etc., and you start doing self-talk. You start talking to yourself and saying, breathe in, breathe out, relax, I can do it, I will get there. And that is an effective strategy. How can we, for example, transfer these sort of effective strategies to our classroom? What about when our students are finding a task difficult? When they are, for example, sitting an exam, or when they are finding a task too challenging, and we tell them, just talk to yourself. breathe in, breathe out, allow yourself to just focus relaxed in a situation and start being kind to yourself. And this is, well, of course, one possible effective strategy. What about compensation or compensatory strategies? When we teach our students, for example, to take advantage of elements such as the ones that you mentioned earlier in the session today, compensating for lack of knowledge, such as using body language, gestures, intonation, all paralinguistic features that enable you to communicate and that are not only or not exclusively linguistic. For example, if you go to a different country and you don't know how to say that you want to try something on when you are there in a mall, and then you use body language or mimicry in order for the person to understand what you need, what you want. Those would be compensatory or compensation strategies, using, for example, paraphrasing, using, for example, synonyms or opposites, for example. Last but not least, metacognitive strategies. Remember those strategies that are beyond linguistic, beyond cognitive, and that entail our ability to organize ourselves, to set internal deadlines, to tell us how you can solve a problem or what steps you need to follow, identifying what works best for you when it comes to working with a language, etc. So, of course, these are resources, and the more we work with them, the more we enable our students to look at them, to practice them, the more resourceful they will get. I told you earlier that amongst the cognitive ones, which are the ones that I would like to discuss in slightly more depth right now, we have, for example, strategies such as the cognitive strategies, such as using our intellect, doing things such as thinking in terms of concepts, analyzing, or reasoning, for example. And of course, as teachers of English, we are used to working with them very much in the classroom, because language systems and language skills are very much tackled from the perspective of our intellect, yes, our thinking in terms of concepts, analysis, or reasoning. But let's very quickly have a quick activity related to this. And I am going to show you an activity that has the three of them, yes? So we're going to work with a word formation 3, okay? So I'm going to tell you some definitions, some word definitions, and I would like you, please, to maybe jot down, if it's possible, jot down somewhere nearby the order in which I mentioned the definitions, so that you can match them and put them together with the words, okay? I hope the instructions are clear. You will be listening to definitions, and I would like you to tell me when I finish telling you the definitions, I would like you to tell me which definition connected to which word, okay? Number 1. Someone who is dearly loved. Someone who is dearly loved.
Beloved.
All right, that's nice. For example, when a person, is somehow attracted for the first time and feels like he or she is flying because, well,
Lost track.
All right, thank you very much. All right, thank you. What about, for example, someone who displays characteristics of not being very nice, not being very friendly, displaying the characteristics of someone...
Unloveliness.
Loveless.
All right, very... Now, when you are so in love, etc., but things do not seem to be working very well, and you just have this, as if you had this
Lovesick.
very, very good. And finally, someone who you find, a person you enjoy being with because this person is
Lovely.
All right. Thank you very much. So if you notice, for example, simple activities like this one enable us to think in terms of concept or sub-concepts, enable us to analyze, and enable us to reason. Okay, now let's go for the other I that has to do with cognition, and this is imagination. Raise your hand if you consider yourself to be imaginative. Let's see, those of you who consider to be imaginative. How come, Mary? How come, Caroline? How come, Michael? You are very imaginative. We are teachers. Of course, we are very imaginative. Rigo, come on. Sylvia, Monica, I'm sure you are very, very imaginative and you work with your imagination, Carla. Trust yourselves more because I'm sure you do it very, very nicely. So imagination, what is imagination? Who would like to give me a definition of what comes to your minds when you listen to the term imagination?
Creative ideas to teach a class.
All right, for example, yes, that's very good. What else?
To have different solutions to the different aspects in life.
Creative.
I try to connect imagination with creativity at the same time. And that doesn't mean that I'm very good at art, maybe, but because I am very good at solving problems.
It has to do with creativeness.
All right, fantastic. Yes, as you very well said, some people mention that there's nothing new under the sun. They tend to say, and that what we do in order to put things together and to create and to envision new things is just, for example, connecting our experience of the world, connecting what we have observed, and putting it together into a context that is the appropriate one. And of course, that implies the use of our imagination. So I, of course, concur with all the ideas that you said. So amongst imagination, for example, we have elements such as imaging. For example, I could like you to close your eyes for a while, for a couple of minutes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I would like you to imagine that you are in a very, very calm place. This is a place that you love. You love this place, and you are looking around the place, and you are looking at. Think about all the things that you are looking at. Take a deep breath. Is there anything that you smell in the air? What kind of smells can you find in this place? Listen to the surroundings. Can you listen to music? Is there music? Are there voices? Are there voices that you can hear in there? Think of your feet. Imagine your feet are naked. No shoes, no socks, no nothing. What are you feeling now? Is it the sand? Is it grass? Is it wood? What is the sensation that you get? How does it feel?
Relaxed.
All right, let's see. Now, I'm sorry not to be able to continue time-wise, but just tell me a little bit of what you imagined, a volunteer or a victim that can tell us what you imagined, what you thought of. Describe it to us.
I feel free.
All right, that's nice. Where were you?
What?
Where were you? What did you imagine?
I went to the mountain. I have a little house there, and I was sitting on a wood floor, and my feet were hanging.
Oh,
feeling the wind.
Excellent, fantastic location. Thanks a million. Anybody else would like to share ideas with us?
Amazingly happy.
Okay, why? Where were you? Tell us a little bit about this.
I imagine myself in this island that I visited a couple of times, and I was watching the sunset, and my feet were touching the water, and I was smelling the ocean.
Wow. Well, I also saw myself there. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Did anybody think of home now that we are in COVID and we are inside of our houses? Did you imagine your home? Anybody? No?
I actually did. I imagine my garden.
Me too.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very, very much. So, of course, in an activity like this, if you have more time, something that can be done is that you can ask your students to draw what they see. To draw or to just have a visual representation of what they hear or how they feel, etc. Maybe some symbols that accompany their drawings. And of course, you have to tell them that you are not expecting masterpieces or anything like this. But the important thing is that this type of activities enable us to connect, to imagine things, to take advantage of images, so that we can image something and take advantage of imaging as an activity that later will enable us either to write or to talk, promote oral production or written production. Okay, so as we were saying, imagination comes up in the form of imaging or thinking of stories, or why not metaphors? Yes, for example, well, maybe those of you that are my age, you will identify that I am very old, but there is a song that in my time used to be very famous that was called "Love is a Roller Coaster." Why do you think that the singer of this song sang "Love is a Roller Coaster"? Why love is a roller coaster? What comes to your minds?
Because it has ups and downs.
Okay, that's a very, very good and a very feasible situation. So, for example, another very important thing that we can do in order to push our students to imagine, to think, to find similarities and differences, for example, is taking advantage of metaphors or creating metaphors related to, for example, tasks they have to perform or situations that they undergo on a daily basis, etc. And in this way, of course, we are pushing them to just think a little bit outside of the box. Well, this, of course, all these elements, what I like very much is the fact that they connect immediately to the language skills, to using the language skills. So let's take a look. I'm going to show you some photographs of very famous stories. Do you like stories?
Sure.
Yes, okay. Tell me.
I love.
You love stories. Tell me stories that you like, or what sort of stories do you prefer?
Science fiction stories.
All right, science fiction, yes.
Mysteries.
Mysteries, very good.
Drama.
Drama, very good. Well,
Love stories.
Love stories. I was going to say nobody's into love stories anymore. I'm glad to hear that what I have for you here and what I'm going to show you, the photographs that I am going to show you are related to all these genres that you mentioned. Yes, let me show you some. And I hope as I am showing you the different photos that I have for you, you can just tell me very, very fast and shoot what you see. For example, if you identify the name of the story, if you identify main characters, if you identify something related to the plot, or I don't know, anything that comes to your minds in connection to these stories, I will be passing them not that fast, but somehow fast, so that you can just shoot and tell me your ideas. It doesn't matter that we overlap. Okay, let me start.
Snow White.
Snow White.
Okay, characteristics. What about her? What characteristics do you remember from her or from the story, etc.?
Loving, peaceful.
Thank you. Let's go to the next one.
Cinderella.
Okay. Characteristics, something that you remember. Glass slippers. What do you remember?
Exploitation.
Okay.
Adventures.
All right. Excellent.
Company.
Okay.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
Childhood forever.
All right.
Aladdin.
Aladdin. Aladdin. Music.
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
Magic.
All right. All right.
Magic.
Okay.
Pirates
Perfect.
of the Caribbean.
Pirates.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
All right.
Parrot. Craziness.
Adventure.
Okay. Very good.
Drinking.
Drinking. Yes, of course. Very good.
Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
Adventure. Craziness.
Curious.
Very good. Thank you.
Vacation.
All right.
Evil.
Evil stepmother.
Sorcery.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Rapunzel.
Mhm. Good.
Lack of experience.
Lack of experience. Someone who's naive. That's very nice.
Ursula.
Okay.
Ursula.
What characteristics does she have?
She's evil.
Envy.
All right.
Powerful.
Crazy.
So something, of course, that time-wise we're not going to do, but something that we can do in order to foster both critical thinking and also to enhance the use of English, promote the use of the language, is having our students work with stories that are well known to them. And from these stories, for example, first have schema activation activities where they come up with nouns, adjectives, verbs, etc., that are connected to the stories and that they remember, and of course, which are very much part of the plot of the story. Then maybe you can have them jot down a couple of ideas that have to do with the beginning, the middle, the ending of the story, and then why not having them think of an alternate ending to the story, or changing relevant or important facts and making them different in such a way. We promote, of course, the use of imagination and take advantage of images, etc., to use them as ways to promote the use of the language skills. Okay. So we are heading towards the last I that has to do with cognition, and this is intuition, our ability to guess, our ability to predict, our ability to use fuzzy or mad thinking, just thinking out of the box, or taking into account our intuition just to find a solution or to think of a possibility. This is what we're going to do right now, okay? I am going to play some musical extracts. What I would like you to do is to listen carefully to these musical extracts. There are 5 different musical extracts, and I would like you to listen to them. While you are listening to them, please be so kind to jot down some ideas, just thinking what kind of personality, if the song was the musical representation of a person's personality, yes, what would be the adjectives that would describe this person? I hope my instructions are being careful, are clear. We are going to listen to 5 musical extracts. While listening, I would like you to jot down adjectives that seem to represent the personality of the person whose music is being portrayed. So, please just, if it is possible, give me a thumbs up. If the instructions were clear, just show me like this. Silvia, Rigo, Monica, are the instructions clear? Catherine, Mary, okay, let's see. Thank you, Minor. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me start playing the music for you, and you jot down the ideas, please.
That is music, teacher. I like that music.
That's very, very good. So now please tell me, what came to your mind? What about the personality of our extract number 1? What do you think?
Romantic, calm, dreamer, writer.
Okay.
Dreamy.
Okay, very good. Just please, it doesn't matter that we overlap, just come up with your idea. So what about number 2? What comes to your minds? What kind of personality?
Intellectual, very energetic.
Amazing.
You.
All right. What about
Inspiring.
number 3?
Mysterious, dramatic.
Dramatic, reflective, sensitive, sad.
Nostalgic, spiritual.
Okay, thank you very much. What about number 4?
Victorious.
Adventurous.
Powerful. Adventure.
Fearless.
Strong.
Challenging.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. And what about the last one?
Pura vida.
Brave,
A little sad.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. Now, you already have your adjectives. Of course, some of them were the same, some of them were different, but just think about the number of adjectives that by listening to these musical extracts, we can generate in our students and how we can activate their schemata when thinking about this. But now let me show you some pictures, yes? And I would like you to try and choose from the pictures that you have here now, choose one of the numbers that you have there and identify which you think could match number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, or number 5. Try to relate the images to the pictures. Okay. Let's see. For example, somebody tell me who would be number 1 for you. Number 1. Did you relate it to anybody in particular? Do you have one that you can immediately say, this is this one? Do you have options of that sort?
The lady with a blues, probably.
Okay, that is your number.
She's number 1.
She's number 1 for you. Okay, very good. Now, of course, I don't mean to be rude or be that terribly mean. Of course, with your students, you will take more time to do an activity like this. But then after this, you can just transform this activity into a writing activity. You can tell them that this person has a name, and so they have to identify, they have to decide what the name of the person is and what characteristics are personality characteristics, what are physical characteristics that describe this person, why this person is today in that very specific spot doing what he's doing and what he will be doing the day after tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And just by doing this, of course, what you are aiming at is active schemata, retrieving prior knowledge, and just bringing this information into an activity that could be a writing activity. And with this, of course, we are taking advantage of their instinct, their intuition, and linguistic features that they can come to. Now, just remember something which is very important and that we need to remember is all the activities that we have in the classroom, the fact that we are aiming at helping our students become more resilient, more reflective, and more resourceful has to do with the fact that as teachers, we want to promote transfer. We want to help learners use the language in a variety of contexts and situations. But it is not only a matter of using the language. As we said earlier today, using a language doesn't have to do only with the language itself, but it has to do with the ability to reflect, to use other skills. And as context to new context. And this is what we expect our students to do, to use language and to use all the tools, all the resources they learn in a variety of contexts. Well, I think before we actually go into the breakout rooms, I would like very, very quickly just to have this quick transfer activity And I would like you to tell me, what color is love?
Pink.
Red.
Red.
This is already said.
Okay. And what color is imagination?
Yellow.
Blue.
White.
And what color is
Light
hope?
blue.
Green.
Hop green.
Green.
What color is what?
Green.
Green.
All right. And what color is Costa Rica?
Green.
also.
Green.
Green.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. So right now, just in order to start wrapping up our session and in such a way we can come back for a quick goodbye activity, I am going to ask you please to participate in our breakout rooms. This will be a discussion that we will be holding just for a couple of minutes. And I would like you to focus please on questions number 1 and number 2. If you should have time, go for question number 3 as well. But I think questions number 1 and number 2 will enable us to have a quick discussion for a couple of minutes, and later we will come back in such a way we can wrap up our session today. Thank you very, very much. We will be sent to the breakout rooms. Just hang in there for a while.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. Guys, you know what to do when you get to the breakout room. Make sure you have your cameras on. And Xochitl has provided us with so many ideas and so much energy on this Friday afternoon. So let's be as quick as we can to get in there and talk with our partners and really take advantage of this sharing time, okay? So Gendre has already posted the link to those same prompts that Xochitl just shared with us. They're here in the chat. So if you click that link in the chat, it will open up those questions for you while you're in the breakout room with your partners, okay? So Gendre, if you're ready.
Yes, let's go. 3, 2, 1.
I silence my microphone. So let me give you instructions. Again, I'm sure that everybody's ready now. So let me give you the next set of instructions. I'm going to play a song. Yes, this is a well-known song. So what I would like you to do is to listen carefully. As soon as you listen to the words that you have included in each one of you, in each one of the boxes that you have there, I would like you to cross it out or circle it in such a way that when you have completed all your 9 words, you shout very, very loud, bingo! And that's what we're going to do. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started. Great. Please let me know if you find any problems with sound. I hope not. Wow, we have our first bingo. A round of applause for you. Very, very well done. Excellent. Now, of course, with your students, you are going to play the song, not only once, maybe twice, so that they listen and everybody concludes their bingo. I'm not being mean. That's not my intention, but it's time-wise. But I'm happy that you have all the words and you managed to call out bingo. And remember that with this activity, we are practicing listening for specific information, okay? That's another strategy that we can practice with our students. Now, let me see. Are you the singing type or not? Are you the kind of persons that like singing or not very much?
I am.
Excellent.
Not very much.
Not very much. I'm sure, even though you are not the singing type that much, you will be so nice and so kind to help me wrap up our session by singing, and why not dancing, just in such a way we can say goodbye this afternoon. All right, so let's see. Let me show you the lyrics to the song, and if possible, turn on your cameras and sing and dance with me. We're going to start singing now. On my 1, 2, 3, okay? Please feel free to dance.
I am not keeping on.
I need
It's good for sleep.
I am sorry to interrupt you. I am sorry to interrupt you. You are actually singing beautifully. Most of you are singing at the top of your lungs, but I think we can do a little bit better. I think we can still do a little bit better. So this is what you're going to do. I would like you to imagine, I would like you to choose your favorite letter between these 3 letters, A, B, or C. Please mentally choose if you are an A, if you are a B, or if you are a C. So I hope I have enough A's, enough B's, and enough C's. Okay, now, let me see.
What you
Okay.
talking about?
Okay, you have already chosen your letter.
Do we have a song that we all
If
know?
if you are a letter A, Rigo, I'm sorry, no, but the thing is, I don't have time to change it. But
I know. I was just thinking out loud. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Let's see. This is what you're going to do, Rigo, and I'm sure you're going to like it because I can see you are the dancing type. So
I'm the singing type, not dancing type.
then both. I can see that you're both the singing and the dancing type. So let's see. This is what we're going to do. If you are a letter A, your words are I, lights, and show. I, lights, and show. Either memorize them or write them down if your memory is not very good. I, lights, and show. If you are a letter B, your words are my, you, and the. My, you, and the. Yes? And if you are a letter C, your words are me, the contraction there, and the word alone. Yes, these are your words, me, there, and alone if you are letter C. So this is very simply what you're going to do. You will be listening to the song, and every time you listen to any of your words, you're going to stand up and sit down. Yes, stand up, take a look at the world, and sit down. Stand up and sit down. Stand up and sit down. Just like this. And everybody, regardless of your being an A, a B, or a C, you're going to stand up and sit down every time you listen to the word. I made a mistake there. It is not lights, it is calling. The word calling, okay? So calling is for everybody. Are instructions clear?
I don't understand the word.
Let's see if you can perform this challenge.
Oh my God.
One, two, three. Go ahead. Okay, a round of applause for you. Very, very, very well done. Excellent. Thank you very, very much. And just to say goodbye and to thank you very, very much for being with us today, I just would like to share these words from Anthony P. Whitman with you. Encourage minds to think, hands to create, and hearts to love. Teachers who demand much receive much. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to be with you today.
Hey, everybody. You have your microphones on, so let's do a real round of applause and maybe some whistles or something like that so Xochitl can hear it. Yay!
Awesome. One more time.
Thank you so much, Xochitl, for all right. Thank you, Xochitl, so much for your energy, for your ideas, for your passion, and for all of these things that you shared with us on a Friday afternoon. You have a tough time slot. Friday, 4 to 5:30 is a rough time. People need coffee, right? But you brought the energy and everything. So we're really thankful. Thank you so much for that. And I know people were asking for if there's access to the slides and things like that. We already have the slideshow presentation in PDF form if you wanted to have access to that. It's in the community of practice site.